Hi, my name is Jolie Manza, and I'm here with Yoga Journal to take you through a sequence to help you find success in your headstand and your handstand. This sequence was designed with three major points. First, arm strength, especially mid-line arm strength, drawing the energy in. The second point is our deep belly awareness, drawing the navel to the spine. And third is hamstring length. All three of these aspects will help you find success in your inversion practice. You'll need props for this practice, 2 blocks, and then of course your mat. So let's get started. We're actually going to start down on our back in a constructive rest position. So lie down, widen through the feet, and then allow the inner knees to touch. You can take your left hand to your chest and your right hand to your belly. Allow your eyes to close and begin to focus in on your breath. Remember, in the yoga practice, we generally breathe through the nose. So allow the lips to come together and find a slow, deep breath in and out. Allow for the breath to reach down beneath the right hand, feeling the rib cage expand right to left. We'll be moving so much in this practice, so really enjoy this moment of stillness, softness in the body. Let's take just 2 more of those deep breaths. Lips together, in and out through the nose. And at the base of this next exhale, you'll start to stretch out much like you would in the morning. Begin to reach your arms up and over your head. Draw your big toes together and lengthen through the entire body. Notice that your low back wants to pull away from the mat. So correct that by energetically drawing the belly down. Lengthen through the back of your neck. Point through the feet and stretch the wrist creases back. This is very much similar to the handstand that we'll be taking later in the practice. Take a large breath in, feel the stretch through the sides of your ribs. And on your exhale, release the hands and begin to draw the knees into your chest. Taking Appanasana knee to chest pose. The relationship between the top of your thigh and your rib cage is another aspect that we'll focus on quite a lot during this practice. So take a moment here to really allow the release of the hip flexors and the length in the low spine. Taking another big breath in through the nose, feel your rib cage press up against the tops of the thighs. As you exhale, hold on to that right knee and extend that left leg out along the ground. Draw the right knee in, and let's open up the back of the leg. So sliding your hands either behind the calf or maybe around the foot. As you take an inhale, begin to extend the leg up towards the sky. Feel a bit of length come into the back of the hamstring. And then as you exhale, soften the knee and allow the heel to drop to the back of the thigh. Let's take that 2 more times. Take a breath in, stretch up. Exhale and release. Find a very active left leg. 1 more round. Big breath in. And exhale out. Hold on to that right knee, draw the second knee in to meet, and let's switch sides. Holding on to that left knee, extend the right leg out forward, heel resting on the ground. Take a moment here to pull the knee deeply towards the chest and feel your breath rise against the top of the thigh. 3 rounds. As we inhale, we'll begin to extend that right leg up towards the sky. It can be really nice to flare the toes, find some width in the back of the leg. Exhale, bend the knee and lower the heel. 2 more rounds, breathing in and exhaling. Super active right foot, 1 last round. And exhale. Good, keep that left knee into your chest, draw the right knee in. We're gonna move into some pretty strong core work, and so you're actually gonna need both of your blocks for this portion. So you may need to rock up for a moment, grab both of those blocks and scoot them back a little closer to the hips. Come back down onto the spine and go ahead and take one of your blocks. On the vertical length, you'll paste the edge of the block right at the top of the right thigh. That right elbow will come against the opposite edge. Now begin to start pressing the right knee and the right elbow firmly into the block, isolating through the right side of the waist and pulling your low back down. The head will lift, draw the chin towards the sternum, and the hands will interlace behind the head to offer the neck some support. We're going to take 4 rounds here. So actively press into the block, engage through the right side, and then draw that left knee in to meet the right. Lift a little higher, and then extend that left leg out. Hover for just a moment, and then go ahead and draw it right back in. 3 more rounds, continuously pressing the right elbow and knee in towards the block. You've got 2 more to go, keeping that lower back glued to the mat. Drawing it in. Final time. Keep that leg extended, and we'll take 5 pulses. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the head, give yourself a moment, shake out the neck and the shoulders, and let's go into the left side. So again, vertical block, place it at the top of the left thigh. Left elbow in. Press strongly in. Feel the activation on that left side. Draw the chin to the sternum. Interlace the hands behind the head. Draw in. Feel the low back connect and extend that right leg forward. 4 rounds here. Pressing in, draw that knee back. Keep length and width across the chest as you extend forward. 2 more rounds to go. Belly down, low back connected. Last and final round, you'll stay extended out. 5 pulses. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and draw the knee in, let the head down, and just take a moment breath. Second set. This one is more challenging in my opinion, but we'll take this block right between our inner knees. This is all about activating inner thigh connection. So with the block between your inner thighs, start to squeeze in, and then take your second block between your hands. Start by lengthening the block up and over your head. You will lift the head off the mat, so draw the chin down towards the sternum, look towards your navel, and feel length in that upper body. Squeeze, activate the block of the lower portion of your body, feel the belly draw down, low back connect, and when you're ready, start to extend the legs forward. We'll stay here for 10 seconds, pulling the belly down, keeping that back connected. As you can tell, my core is working. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and bend the knees and rest. Inhale and exhale. Let's just go through 1 more of those. So when you're ready, belly down, low back connected. Arms overhead, lift the chin to the chest, pull the belly down and extend the legs forward. Find a focus point. 3, 2, 1. Draw the knees in. Go ahead and release those blocks off to the side of the space. Hands will come behind the legs, and we'll just take a simple rock up and down the spine, gaining some momentum, loosening up anything in the low back that may feel tense. 2 or 3 rounds. And on that 3rd round, we'll cross over the tops of the feet, back ourselves up, and come onto all 4s. Wrists are an incredibly important part of going upside down, and an area of our body we tend to ignore in the yoga practice. We're going to start to strengthen through the hands and the forearms. So finding ourselves here with our shoulders stacked over our wrists and our hips stacked over our knees, we're going to take a moment to focus on palm and forearm strength, an area of our body we don't often pay attention to, but incredibly important for the inversion practice. So the goal here is to keep the weight of your shoulders over the beds of your wrists. Now, with all that engaged belly action, you're going to press into the knuckles of your hands and elevate the bases of the wrists away from the mat. Try to find as much flexion in the knuckles as you can, and then on a count of 3, slowly lower the heels of the hands back down to the mat without bending your elbows. You'll feel it in your forearms right away. Let's take 2 more rounds. So energetically, thumbs draw in, weight over the wrists, press into the knuckles, and take the wrist creases up. Lengthen through the neck, and then a slow descent for 3, 2, 1. 1 more time. Long spines, belly in and up, press into the knuckles, and lift the wrists. Stay, slowly lower for 3, 2, 1. All right, come back onto your knees. We will need a block for this second section, and this is all about taking our arms and drawing energy in towards the midline, which is another aspect that will really help you find success, especially in your handstand. So come back to the front of your mat and go ahead and place the block in between your inner elbows. I kind of like to rest it on my thighs, find the right distance, and then extend the arms forward, finding that drawing in action. We'll reset back in our all 4s position. Make sure that you still have your shoulders stacked over your wrists, and you're thinking about drawing your upper back toward the ceiling, shoulder blades drawing around the body, but while the energy of the arms moves in. Press through the fingertips, lengthen the back of the neck, and then we're going to drop slowly and gently through the elbows until both forearms kiss the mat. Squeeze in. The goal is to not lose the block. Press and lift. Restack the shoulders over the wrist, keeping length in the neck. Let's take 2 more of those. Squeeze in on the block, lowering the arms at the same time. Try not to lose the block. Tap the forearms, and then go ahead and lift back up. We can even add a downward dog here, tucking the toes, pulling the hips up and back, keeping the energy of the arms squeezing around the block. Shift forward, lower back down onto the knees, and for our final round, drop down onto the forearms, and then go ahead and lift yourself all the way back up. Take a moment, find the alignment of the spine, and then walk your knees forward so that you can gently release the block off to the side. One more thing here on our hands and our knees. Take ourselves back to that position. Have your fingertips right behind the short edge of the mat so you've got lots of space behind you. Your inner knees will draw together. Find length into your spine, and then extend the right leg back behind you, toes tucking into the mat. Begin to press the right heel to the back of the space, lengthening down the calf and hamstring. Lock into the toes, and then as an exaggerated cat-cow action, you're going to pull your upper back to the sky as you draw the left knee towards your nose. Take a moment here, find straight arms, press into the fingertips, heel to hamstring, and then as you lower that left knee back down, look forward. Lift the right leg off the mat, neutral pelvis, weight shifts into the right hand, and then the left arm will extend right alongside that left ear. Pull the belly in and up, lengthen fingertip to toe, hold for just a moment, and repeat. Drop the left hand, drop the right foot, push in, and then lift again. Draw that left knee towards the nose, round the back. Take a moment here to find that strength in the arms. Lower the left knee down, gaze forward, right leg lifts, shift, asymmetrical reach. Remember to turn that outer right hip down, belly draws in and up, find all that reach that you can. Lower the left hand, lower the right knee, move your hips back for just a moment and take a juicy child's pose to give yourself a breath. Big inhale through your upper back, big exhale. Notice the heat that's starting to build in the body. All right, and moving into that left side, go ahead and lift yourself back up. Realign yourself, shoulders over wrist, and then the inner knees drawing together. Take the left leg back this time, toes tuck, and then heel pushes to the back of the space, lengthening the back of the leg and the calf. Strong fingertips, push into the left foot, and then draw that right knee towards the nose, rounding through the upper back. Pull the belly in and up. Lower the right knee down, look forward. Lift through that left leg, weight shifts into the left hand, and then the right arm up alongside the ear. Take a moment here to pull up through the belly, lengthen from fingertip to toe, release the hand, release the foot. Second round, push into the toe, curl the right knee towards the nose, round through the upper back, draw the heel to the back of the leg, scoop in the navel, and then lower that right knee down. Shift into your left lifted leg. Right arm extends forward, belly in and up, stay here, and release. Hand comes down, knee comes down. Shake out the shoulders for a moment. Check down that your hands have not internally rotated, but make sure that that index finger is pointing directly forward. Scoop the belly in, and we'll step back to our plank pose. Toes line up underneath the heels. Don't sink through that upper back, but draw the shoulder blades broad. Engage your glutes, pubic bone forward, belly in and up. 5 counts here, engaging through the entire length of the body. Take a big breath, and then on the exhale, pull your hips up and back to your first downward dog of the practice. Take a moment here to wiggle through the feet, shift into the outer hips, make any small movements that are needed, and then ground down. Fingertips into the earth, strong, arms, hips, back, heels down. Slowly breathing in and out through the nose. And release. We'll come back high up onto the toes, roll forward from our tailbone, and re-engage into that plank shape. With that space, we'll lower down onto one forearm, and then the other. Taking a moment in our forearm plank, scoop the pubic bone forward, belly in and up. Energetically draw the thumbs towards each other and lengthen the back of the neck. You've got a 5 count hold here, breathing in and out through the nose. And then at the base of that last exhale, press back into the hand, lift up into plank pose, and pull your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Notice how this becomes a resting posture. Take a moment, breathe in, exhale, and let's come through one more round. Come high up onto the toes, roll yourself forward, find your plank position, pull your upper back up, left arm begins. Lower down onto that forearm, second forearm, thumbs draw in, pubic bone scoops up, lengthen the back of the neck. Inhale, exhale, and lift up. Left hand first, right hand second, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Last time in this longer hold in down dog, utilize this by drawing the biceps towards each other, lengthening through the neck, scooping the belly back. Big breath in, come high onto the toes, and roll back to your last plank. Moving through a little back extension, lower the knees to the mat, untuck the toes, and then come slowly down onto the belly. Allow for yourself to lengthen through the lower legs, hands come right underneath the shoulders, drawing the elbow points towards each other. Taking a little baby bhujangasana, inhale, lift your head and your hands away from the mat, scooping the belly in and up, and just finding some extension through the spine. Exhale, release. You can even tap the nose on the ground. Let's take one more round. Push the tops of the feet down, scoop the navel in and up, and then inhale, lift. Long neck, elbows back. Take a breath, and exhale, release. You can come through a half plank, lift the toes, press up onto the knees, tuck through the feet, lift the hips up, and then walk your feet to the top of the space into Uttanasana, forward fold. Start with a little bit of a wider base in your Uttanasana. So allow the pinky edges of the feet to be parallel, maybe a little micro bend in the knees, and even ragdoll through the arms. Allow your head to lengthen, shake out any tension. Notice if the weight is in your heels, or maybe you can start to draw just a bit more towards the toes. Big breath in, big breath out. And then at the bottom of this next exhale, take your hands to your hips, find a flat back, press against your feet, and stand to Tadasana. Now take a moment here, check out your feet. You can draw the big toes together with a bit of space between your heels, and even lower the hands down to face the front of the space. For the first time up on your feet, take a moment here, feel the energy press down, the crown of your head lengthen up, belly draws back, and just take a moment to find your natural breath. In through the nose, and out. For this next section, we will need both of our blocks at the top of our space. So go ahead and locate those wherever they are in the room, and then lower down and place them on the lowest level to the outer corners of your mat. Restand, your feet can be about halfway between where the blocks are placed. Hands will then come towards your hips. We'll shift all of our weight into our left leg. We're going to play with something called descension of the femur bone. So with most of the weight onto that left side, keeping that right leg very straight, shift into the left leg, flex through the right foot, and then begin to pull the femur bone up into the hip socket. Now make sure that that foot does not come forward or back of the left leg. Stays right in line. Draw up energetically through the spine. Give that a moment. And then lower that right leg down, and let's just test that on the other side. So shift all the weight to the right foot, engage your belly, lengthen through the top of the back, flex the left leg, and then pull the femur bone up into the socket. See how that feels, how that affects your balance. Nice, strong, active left foot. Take a moment, and then go ahead and reset that left leg. We're gonna add an element here, a forward fold. So on this second round, draw the weight back into your left side, plug that right femur bone up into the socket, flex strongly through that right foot. Now draw the belly back towards the spine and begin to hinge at the hips. Moving your gaze slowly down, elongating from tailbone to crown of head, and find yourself into a flat back position. This is very strong in the back of that left leg. What makes it easier is using the core to draw that right leg up into the socket. Lengthen through the back of the neck. And when you're ready, you'll extend that right leg all the way up, lowering your fingertips to those blocks, moving towards your standing split. Now find the foundation in that left foot, maybe even a micro bend in that left knee, and begin to neutralize the pelvis so that outer right hip turns down, reach strongly up through the right leg, and then begin to lower the gaze, maybe the crown of the head towards the ground. Take just a few breaths here in your standing split, moving, shifting into the foot, finding a new layer of length in the back of that hamstring. Big breath in, and then as you exhale, we'll begin to come down towards a Jiva squat. Now, rather than carrying that knee behind the left leg, you're gonna keep the pelvis neutral, draw everything into a small ball, knee towards nose, and then as you breathe, re-extend that right leg back up. You can see why this will be a helpful position when it comes to handstanding. Find length, breathe up, maybe lower the nose towards the toes. Exhale, and then release back down into that Jiva squat. Draw everything into a small ball. We'll take one more lift. Big, strong, powerful reach with that right leg, lengthening the back of your neck. Maybe this is the longest and strongest version yet. Now gaze ahead of you, bend through that left knee, and then slowly step back into a low lunge. Adjust yourself, make sure that that front knee is directly over that heel. Hands will come down to the blocks. Imagine a balloon underneath that right hip, elevating the back hip points to become even. Lengthen the back of the neck and press through the heel. Pyramid pose, that back heel stays lifted as you fold over that front leg, releasing any tension in the neck. Lower again, find that low lunge. Take any shifts that you need. One more time. Exhale, back heel stays lifted. Inner thighs squeeze towards each other, opening again a new layer of that back leg. Rebend into your knee. Now for the fun part, we get to play with some jump switches. So the challenge here is to not bend through the elbows, but to find the lift in the belly and height in the hips. So with our hands firmly rooted into the blocks, you'll use your back leg as a lever. Draw everything in, push down, straight arms, and switch. You'll notice that you have a little air time. Your toes want to come together and kiss. Let's take just a few more rounds. Bend through that left knee, strong straight arms, kiss, and switch. We're going to end up with the left foot forward, so let's take two more. Bend that back knee, press, and switch. Final round, bend through, press, and switch. Whew, take a big breath. Push off that right foot. Take yourself back towards your Uttanasana. Maybe a little ragdoll or interlace your hands behind your low back. Open up through the chest. Big, strong breaths. And then release your hands to your hips. Lengthen through the spine. Press against your feet and stand tall. Again, just a neutralizing breath here. Palms can face forward. Second round. Take your hands back towards your hips. We'll shift all of our weight into our right foot. Same action, draw that left thigh bone high up into the socket. Strong belly, as if someone has the very top of your head and you're lengthening up. Scoop back and begin to fold forward into a flat back. Watch the line of that left foot, making sure it stays in line with the right toes. Pull tailbone back, don't overarch in the low spine, and find a flat back. Stay for a moment, contract the quadricep of the right leg, and then begin to carry that left leg back. Maybe microbend the right knee as your hands come towards the blocks. Moving towards standing split on the second side. Shake out any tension in the neck and the shoulders. Engage through those left toes, outer left hip down. Big reach up with the foot. Jiva squat. Neutral hips, draw everything down, curl in, compress, and then inhale, stretch right back up. Reach the toes tall, gaze forward and lengthen through the leg. Inhale, exhale, curl in, let everything draw down. And one more time, take those left toes up, lengthen as much as you can into the hamstring, and then release the crown of the head towards the toes. Bend through the right knee and take a big step back with your left leg and find yourself in low lunge. Always important to check your foundation, knee over heel, length through the back of the neck. On the next exhale, pull the hips back and fold towards your pyramid. Inner thighs squeeze towards each other, which will keep the points of the pelvis neutral. Lengthen through the spine and then rebend back into that knee. Big breath in. One more round, pull your hips up and back and fold. Good. For the fun part, get our heart rates up even more. Go ahead and bend that right knee. Hands plant. Remember, keep those elbows super strong. Bend through that back knee. Scoop your belly in and up. Kiss your toes and then switch. Bend, press, and switch. 2 more times. Bend, press, switch. Last round. Bend, press, and switch. Micro bend, push forward. Release the spine, wiggle it out. Exhale, take your hands to your hips and then press against your feet. Find a long spine and come to stand. Good, your heart's probably pounding. Breath is strong. Feels good to have that heat coursing through our bodies. So go ahead and just take a neutralizing breath here. Inhale and exhale. Okay. All right, so go ahead and open up your eyes, wiggle out any tension, and we'll come towards a balancing exercise where the block will live between your thigh and your rib cage. We're gonna play with this in handstand in just a moment, so a super useful tool, and this is a great modification if the handstand aspect isn't quite available for your practice yet. So go ahead and reach down for your block. You're gonna place the block probably on the narrowest width. Again, shifting weight towards that left leg. You're going to place the block to the top of the thigh, and then it's going to meet your ribs. It can be nice to use your hands around the front of the shin to really feel that locking action. If this is where you need to stay, go ahead and stay here for a few breaths, or find the challenge of keeping the knee there on its own, lowering the hands down next to the hips. On the next inhale, take the arms up alongside the ears, Urdhva Hastasana style, root through the toe, find your balance. Try to even out the pelvis points. Lengthen up, imagine that you're balancing on your hands here. One more big breath, maybe point the foot. And go ahead and release everything down. You'll really feel the strength in your hip flexors. Okay, so we're gonna come into some balancing work now that we will also need a block for. So remember the relationship between the block, the thigh, and the rib? We're gonna revisit that now. And so standing on your feet, we'll shift all of our weight over to our left foot. Go ahead and bend through that right knee, almost like you're coming to a tree pose. But you'll place the block between the thigh and then draw it in and secure it right between the rib cage. I like to take my hands around the front of that shin and really draw up to help lengthen through the spine. You may need to keep your hands here if this is the first time you've practiced this as your hip flexors get stronger. But see if you can find length. Squeeze the knee into the chest and then lower the hands down next to the hips. On the next inhale, begin to take the arms up alongside the ears, really rooting down through that left foot. We'll take this shape in handstand in just a little while, so a great place to imprint that whole practice. Stay here for maybe 3 to 5 breath rounds, lengthening up, and go ahead and lower the hands, hold on to the block, and shift sides. Your hip flexor will definitely be active, so give it a little wiggle, and then let's shift. So take the weight into the right foot, bend through the left knee, and then start to draw that left knee up. The block close to the hip crease on the top of the thigh will pull in against the rib cage. Take your hands around the front of that shin, and then use the support of the hands to find length through the entire spinal column. I like to activate that left ankle. You can point the foot if you prefer. Hold here, or take the hands down alongside the legs, and then with an inhale, reach all the way up, lengthening through the spine and finding lift. You'll notice how long and straight your lower spine is. This is also what we'll be looking for in our handstands. Push down, lengthen up, one more big breath. And exhale, go ahead and take your hands down, remove the block, and lower the leg. Take the block out of the equation for a moment, and let's step out wide onto our space. We'll give ourselves a really nice Prasarita Padottanasana to again open up the back of the body. Hands can come to the hips, roll the shoulder heads back, lengthen from the arc of the heart, and then lift and over the hips, take it all the way down. Crown of head to earth, fingertips can come in line with the toes, and then allow the entire length of the spine to release. Shake out any tension in the neck, and then once you feel your edge, draw the inner elbows towards each other, find weight towards the tops of the feet, and then begin to find a little bit more length into the spine. This is a great place to stay, or if you'd like a little extra, micro bend the knees, take your hands behind your low back, interlace the fingers, pull the thumbs together, roll the shoulder heads towards each other, lengthen through the elbows, and come into Prasarita Padottanasana C, allowing for a little bit of shoulder opening. Let's stay for anywhere from 3 to 5 breaths, quadriceps active, feet strong. One more big breath in. Exhale, release, and then take your hands back to your hips. Long spine, press against the feet, and stand. Okay, last little exercise before we get into our inversions. One of my favorites. Malasana with a lengthened spine. So, block in between the hands. Let's face back towards the front of the space. There's a slight external rotation in the feet, and then just begin to lower yourself down into your squat pose. And you may need to sort of shift side to side, get the backs of those Achilles and calf muscles nice and open, and then see if you can start to settle down. Now notice we have a tendency to really round through our lower back here, or sometimes overarch. And so what we're looking for is to keep length in that low pelvis as we take our arms up and over our head. So grab a hold of the block, place it between the hands, draw the shoulder down away from the ears, but then engage and lengthen. Now pull up slowly, and just about here you'll feel your arms get a bit stuck. And so what would it take to continue to lift and lengthen through that upper back, trying to eventually get the biceps in line with the ears? This is an incredibly challenging posture, although it may look simple. You'll feel your arms shake, maybe even your legs shake. Pull your belly back towards your spine, lengthen through the back of the neck. Try not to crunch through the neck, however. Take a few breaths. And then exhale, release. Just because it's so challenging, we should do it one more time. So give yourself a moment, re-engage, powerful presence in the hands, pull the belly back, big breath in, feel where you get a little bit stuck into the shoulders, and then lift and lengthen through the shoulder space. Find lift, find space, long neck, stay for 3, 2, 1. Whew. Go ahead and take that block, give yourself a moment, and then come down onto your shins. Inhale and exhale. So we're actually going to move into the classic version of Salamba Shirshasana, supported headstand. The foundation for this position is going to be interlacing the fingers right at the knuckle line. I like to tuck my pinkies in so that there's no imbalance in the base of the hand, and then I allow the thumbs to cross. I do, however, don't completely close the wrists. I keep just a bit of space so that the line of the wrist stays neutral with the elbow and the fingertips. Now from this position, just like we worked on before, you want to energetically draw the inner elbows towards each other, and then practice by just taking the entire shape behind the back of the head. The back of the head presses into the bases of the wrists, and the elbow points draw towards each other. Imagine that you have that block there, that same exercise we worked on before. Imagine now pressing the elbow points down into the earth and then lengthening through the neck. We'll take this position upside down. So come forward, lower down, and place that same exact position. You should create a triangle shape between the palms and the elbows. Lift up, back the knees, and much like a dolphin option, our first step is to tuck the toes. We'll take the crown of the head down to the ground, again finding the back of the head and wrist connection. Feet tucked, hips lift, and then begin to walk your feet in just a touch. Big important portion here is to not allow that upper back to round forward towards the front of the room. We avoid that by pressing into the elbows, lengthening and lifting through the shoulders, and then draw energetically in with the elbow points. Crown of head to earth. This protects our neck. I like to take my right foot a touch more towards the center of the space and then lift through that left leg. Now this is a great option, sort of step one of headstand. If you're not quite comfortable balancing in the center of the room, make sure you have a wall behind you that you can allow the feet to rest against. Maybe try the other leg. Lower the left toes down and sweep that right leg up. Neutralize the pelvis and just see how it feels. If you're ready to actually come up, you're going to shift even a touch more weight towards the toenail line. Reach up through the right toes and then begin to lift the left off. Squeeze through the legs, through the glutes, pushing down through the elbow points, finding the toes connected. Energetically draw the inner thighs towards each other, engage your glutes, and then fire up the legs. Gazing at one point, never giving up on the points of the elbows, never allowing the neck to crunch, seeing if you can stay here for a few breath rounds, noticing any tension that might build. Let's take one more big breath in, and then as you exhale, slowly coming down, lower opposite foot, drop down, roll towards the forehead, and just take a moment in child's pose.
It's always good to give your body a moment to react to something as strong as a headstand practice. So breathing here, taking a moment, allowing your breath to settle. When you feel the blood balance back into the body, walk your fingertips back towards your knees and stack the spine. Now, I would like to emphasize that if you are somebody that's new at the headstand practice, it's a really safe option to go and practice that exact thing against the wall. You don't have the fear of falling over. So give it a try, and then come back to the mat, and let's go into our handstand. So for this handstand variation, a really fun option is to place the block between the thigh and the rib cage. So I like to sort of have that right foot a little further forward, place the block as high up to the crease as possible, and then just fold over the top of that block. The rib cage will pin the block against the thigh. Hands are going to come down towards the mat, and this is where that hamstring length is a super important part of getting upside down. We want our hands to be completely flat against the mat. Fingertips facing forward, no internal rotation of the shoulders. Strong gaze right between the fingertips, and then go ahead and lift that left leg high to the sky. Take a moment and just assess how you feel here. Maybe this is as far as you get today. Just exploring length in the arms, lift in the leg, and a strong gaze with your eyes. If you're ready, let's start with just a few hops up and see what happens. The back of this heel is going to strongly draw to the back of the thigh. So really straight elbows, strong fingertips into the ground, bend through that right knee, lift strongly through that left leg, and then hop up. Give it one round, a few more, find your gaze, find your focus, hop. Good. Let's give it a few more times. Rebend, strong arms, gaze forward, and lift. Okay, for this final time, let's see if we can find a bit of balance here, lifting even more length into that left leg. So bend, strong arms, give it a little extra. Drawing up. Push against your hands, straighten through those elbows, draw the knee in, point the foot, heel to the back of the leg, and lower down. Let your feet rest under your hips. Allow yourself to kind of wiggle out through the spine. And then go ahead and stand tall. Should we try it on the other side? Let's give it a few hops, at least. Block to the top of the left thigh. Counterbalance here. Take it to the hip crease. Fold rib cage over that block. Find your focus. Shift into the foot and get your hands down to the ground. Strong, powerful presence. Big reach up through that right leg. Gaze forward. And let's give it a hop. Bend through that leg and see what happens. Good. Maybe 2 more times on this side. Bend and lift. If you find a moment of balance, push and hold. Let's try it one more time. Big bend through that leg, powerful foot, and lift. Strong elbows, pull up through the toes, biceps towards each other, engage your glutes. And when you're ready, go ahead and release everything down. Take the block out and give yourself just a bit of release here. Inhale and exhale. And then when you're ready, drop onto your fingertips, lower down onto your shins. We have been working so much this past class to really close through the core and draw the shoulders together that we're going to take a few postures that allow the chest to open and rebalance the spine. So coming towards an Anahata Asana, back yourself up. Hips are going to stack directly over the knees, and then we'll walk our hands forward. Now, the modified version here is to keep your forehead down, which I think is a safer option. So as you start to sink the chest, notice where you feel tension start to create, and see if you can release. Maybe this is as low as you get today. Maybe you can start to sink the chest and the nose towards the ground. Don't push it. Be honest with where your extension in your back is. But if you feel ready, see if then maybe you can attach sternum, chin, or forehead to the ground. Now, once you're here, you'll feel this huge release along the lines of the shoulders. If you would like to make it less intense on the shoulders, walk your hands forward so that the pelvis comes in front of the knees, and it'll find a little bit more comfort. Breathe in, breathe out, forehead down. Taking 3 to 5 breaths here, reversing the curve of the back. At the bottom of your next breath, look up, press into your hands, walk everything back, and let's just rest in a child's pose. Classic Balasana, your arms can reach backwards. Allow the outer shoulders to drop. And really start to center the breath. You'll feel your heart beat against the tops of the thighs. And the energy melt down. One more nice, slow, fluid breath. All right, at the base of this next breath, go ahead and walk your fingertips forward, lift through the chest. We're going to add just a bit of external rotation into the hips, something that we haven't seen a lot yet. So walk your hands forward and measure a down dog, which is just about the perfect distance for a pigeon pose. Inhale the right leg back just a touch, and then draw the right knee forward behind the right wrist. A very safe angle for the knees at about 45 degrees. And then the top of that left foot will press into the earth. Now, I like to add a little bit of a back opener, chest opener here before we fold forward. So walk your fingertips back, nice strong gecko fingertips into the earth, and then inhale and lift the heart forward. Almost imagine that there's a string right at the center of your chest, just lengthening up. You can even open up through the throat, find a broad stretch across the collarbones. And then as you exhale with all that length in your spine, now allow yourself to come into reclined pigeon, walking the hands forward and allowing the forehead to touch the earth. Feel the sensation right around that outer hip crease in the top of the left hip flexor. This is a great pose to stay a little extra time if you have the time for your practice. We're giving it about 3 to 5 breath rounds. Encouraging your body to find more length. Let's take one more breath on this side. So big, deep, slow breath in through the nose. And exhale. And walk the hands back, and we'll slowly transition to the second side. So hands under the shoulders, tuck the toes, and then lift up and take your down dog. It can be nice to pedal through that right leg, give the outer hip a moment. And then let's take the second side. Inhale the left leg just a touch, gaze forward. Walk it out and draw that left knee behind the left wrist. 45-degree angle of the knee, top of the right foot connects down. Fingertips press into the earth and then open up the heart. Enjoy this C curve in the body, the top of the hip flexor, the belly, the chest, the throat. Gaze up to the upper corner of the room. One more nice big breath here. And now with all that length, allow the release of the spine as you create even more distance in the body. Forehead to earth. Top of foot down. And 3 to 5 breaths here. Just notice how the heart starts to drop. The breath starts to extend as the body begins to close its practice. Let's take one more breath together on this side. Inhale through the nose. And release. Lift the gaze, walk yourself up, and then you can just sit onto that outer edge of the left hip and swing the right leg all the way to the front. We will roll down to our back and we will take the block one last time. So have it available to you. Scoot your hips a little bit closer to the heels, parallel your feet, and then take your fingertips right under the creases of your knees. Scoop the belly in and roll down vertebra by vertebra. You can pull the heels a little bit closer as you find length onto your spine. Taking a moment here in this supine position. Hands can rest on the belly. And find your breath. We'll come towards restorative bridge. So grab for that block. And you've got a few options. You can have it on the lowest level, Or my favorite is that second height. Heels right in line with the sit bones. Press the pelvis up just enough that you can slide the block right under the line of your sacrum. So it's not in the low back and it's not on the bum, but right on that triangular bone at the base of your spine. It should be effortless to keep your balance here. So once the pelvis lowers onto the block, allow the palms to open and feel the release and support that the block offers. All tension in the legs is loose and easy. You can even begin to scan the body here from the top of your head, noticing points of tension that we hold in the face, between the eyebrows and the jaw. Feel your chest expand. And as you move down the body, notice if your fingertips are easy and relaxed. The legs and the feet. And just a few more moments here, deeply breathing, really starting to close everything down. You may sense the back of your heart beating against the mat. And when you're ready, we'll start to transition towards our final resting pose of Savasana. So press into the feet, lift the hips, and slide the block out from underneath you. Place it off to the side, and then roll down vertebra by vertebra onto the back. Take any last momentary poses before we lengthen out. Sometimes it's nice to draw the knees in, maybe take a little rock across the sacrum, or turn the head right to left. Whatever you feel will solidify your practice. And then when you're ready, begin to extend out towards your final Shavasana. One leg and then the other. Palms will open up and turn out. Move out anything around the feet or the hands. And then just give your body a little sift, side to side, really encouraging the complete and total release of all the muscles that you so strongly worked through class. And it's here that we give our nervous system a chance to connect with the rest of our body, to input the information, especially with the challenge of going upside down. So in this moment, in this space, find gratitude for the courage to come to your mat today and explore strength, balance, going upside down. And if you have time for a very long Shavasana in your day, you're welcome to stay for 10 to even 15 minutes here. We'll take just a few more breaths together before we close our practice. And then just as we started, you can draw the left hand to the chest and the right hand to the belly. Taking a moment to direct the breath underneath the right hand, feeling the rib cage expand right to left. And then we'll begin to stretch out long, arms overhead. You can bend the knees, draw everything in. And then just shift off to your right side. Allow yourself to curl into a little fetal position, keeping the eyes closed. Just transitioning here. 1 or 2 breaths. And to end our practice, we'll sit into one last cross-legged seat, transitioning again with the eyes closed or just slightly open. Find yourself settled on your sit bones, palms down or up on your knees. In these last few moments, find that length in the spine. We'll draw our hands together, closing our practice with gratitude for the courage to come to the mat today and explore going upside down and all the layers of strength that we have. Take one final breath in, and then as you exhale, bow forward. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Good luck with your inversions. Namaste.